Hi Flosstube, I'm Rachel, Stitchy Rach here on Flosstube and on Instagram. It's Wednesday the 15th of February and this is a YouTube channel about cross stitch. Hi there everyone, welcome to my channel. I'm going to talk to you about some cross stitch and some knitting today. Thank you for coming back if you are one of my subscribers or if you've been here before. And if you're new here, I hope you enjoy what you see. I hope you'll leave me a comment or even better subscribe to my channel. I'm a day later than I intended to be. It was meant to be yesterday, but if you're in the UK you might know it is half-term week, so I have all the children at home. So apologise if you hear them clattering around in the background, although I have said to them they can have screen time half an hour early in the hope that sorry, we may get through this uninterrupted. If I can not cough. Now I want to cough. Excuse me. This has been just obviously a busy week because we're all at home, and so it's much later in the day than I intended to film. It's now 20 to 5, so I am losing the light, so I hope it's going to hang on, particularly as I have quite a lot to show you today. But the days are lengthening. It's been unseasonably mild and sunny, which is fantastic because usually the second we hit half term it just pours and then yeah, it's just a disaster and everyone gets cranky. But it's been so lovely. We've been able to be in the garden, all of us with the dog, so temps are remaining remarkably unfrayed. I put it down to my excellent parenting. It's far more to do with just being outside. I think everyone just being that little bit older now. All three of my children are at school now, and I think that does just help with the general behaviour. Dog's been in the garden with us as well. Yeah, it's just been lovely. I got a splinter in my hand earlier. Oh yes, I will apologise in advance for the state of my hands because you're going to see them. There's no hiding from them on a Flosstube, and I have spent now 3 days basically in the garden. Spent some time tidying up the greenhouse that had been kind of left to rot at the end of last growing season, and then I've been in the veg patch and in several other borders weeding. We do now have one completely weeded asparagus bed, but I don't really like wearing gloves when I'm gardening. I know you should, but I'm not pregnant or anything, so I don't always wear gloves when I'm gardening, and as such my hands, is it going to focus on them? Perhaps better that you don't, but they are absolutely filthy because I've just had them, and I have tried to scrub them, but they're just mucky AF. They really are. So I am sorry about the disgusting state of my fingers, and I had a splinter in my hand as well that I had to go digging out. So you know, it's all going. But it's good. It's nice to be outside. It's nice for the kids to be outside. It's nice for them to have a week off. I think everyone got to the end of term and was just a bit, need a break. And to be honest, I quite like having a break from, you know, the school run and all the things. So it's nice. We're enjoying it. We are enjoying it. And so far we are harmonious. We have some days out planned. I have a date night with my girlfriend. My friend who is a girl. I have a husband. I don't have a girlfriend as well. My life is nowhere near that interesting. But I'm going to London on Friday night to see a friend. I'm going to see an exhibition that I actually saw when Sarah from Penelope's Pocket put it on her Instagram. So there's a Cezanne exhibition at the Tate Modern for the next couple. I think it finishes in March, but there aren't many weeks left. So if you like Cezanne, so we're off to see the Cezanne exhibition, and then we're going for dinner together, and that'll be fun because I haven't seen her. Have I seen her this year? I don't think so. I don't think I've seen her since New Year. No, I haven't. I haven't seen her since New Year. I'm just trying to remember. So that will be fun. It will be really fun to see her, and we can have a catch up. So yeah, so that is kind of what is going on in my life, and then next week back to school and back to all the normal things. But it's good to be in the garden. Something's buzzing me. Is it important? Bear with me while I really read my text message. No, it's just a funny message about something not quite as exciting I have to do tomorrow night. I think I've mentioned before I'm a parish counsellor And I have to go to a meeting at our borough council tomorrow night, which promises to not be the world's most riveting entertainment, and I'm getting suggestions from some people about what I could do to entertain myself. But as you know, it's all being stitchers and knitters, I will probably take some knitting and or some stitching to keep me company through the meeting. It's not a meeting, it's a big meeting. It's not a meeting where I will be on display or having to participate very much. I only need to be there for a certain few sessions. It won't be super rude for me to sit and knit, so don't worry about that. I wouldn't do it in a normal kind of meeting where I have to take active part. Anyway, I feel like I've waffled a lot there. I do feel like I have waffled a lot there, and I am conscious of the light. But also, I can't believe it's only 2 weeks and a day since I last filmed. So 2 weeks ago I was like, yeah, there's not a lot to show you. And today, there's so much, I can't believe it's only been kind of 2 weeks. I have so much to show you today. I've gone from feast to famine. I have quite a lot of cross stitch to show you. So I'll go through that. And then I have a little bit of knitting at the end. So if you're not interested in knitting, you can escape the knitting waffle. The knitting bit will be much shorter. There isn't quite as much to say there. I'm also wearing a new jumper. Hope you like it. I do Stitch Fix because hate shopping. Does anyone else hate shopping? I hate shopping. And I would heartily recommend Stitch Fix if you are shoppingly challenged like me. There's nothing about it I enjoy. And I'm finding it's working really well for me actually. So yeah, my new Stitch Fix jumper, I'm very pleased with it. Right, because that's waffle enough, let's talk about some cross stitch, because that's supposedly what you're here for, not general waffle about my jumper and asparagus bed and Cezanne exhibitions. So the first thing I have to show you is a finish. Woohoo! And it's also something that I started since I last saw you. So my year of no new starts, as you know, it did last the first month of the year, but it's not going to last much longer than that. Having said that, I did say it wasn't a super strict no new starts. So, you know, I've just found another splinter in my hand. This is cause, that one's not as bad. This is cause, if you've ever seen asparagus grow, the bits we eat then kind of flower if you leave them. And our asparagus beds aren't established, they're new. So when you first plant asparagus crowns, you're meant to leave them 2 to 3 years before you harvest any, to make sure they're established enough before you start cutting the spears. So they grow and they flower and they get quite tall. They can kind of get to, I don't know, 4-ish foot and very frondy. But obviously, being a lazy gardener, didn't cut them down in the autumn. So they've kind of just died on, you know how a perennial plant does if you just leave it. So it's gone all kind of woody. But all the frondy bits have gone quite woody, and it probably was not wise to cut those down and shove them into the garden waste bin without gloves on. So I do have some nice kind of splintery bits in my hands. Anyway, I digress. So why did I start something, having not talked about it in my last video and said I wasn't going to start anything new this year? Well, I was having an internal debate with myself 2 weeks ago when I did this video as to whether I was going to do this or not. And I think at that time I was probably veering towards not. But anyway, for the last few years, my husband and I don't really celebrate Valentine's Day. We get each other a card, but not in any serious way. Like if he didn't get me a card, I wouldn't be massively upset about it. But we tend to buy each other a card. And then for the last few years, I have stitched a small for him. More is just actually, I quite like stitching and it's quite nice for me to just give him a little something. And for our anniversary, we tend to make a bigger deal of it. So I tend to just give him a little stitched something for Valentine's Day. And this year I was like, oh, am I going to do it? Am I not going to do it? Am I going to do it? Am I not going to do it? Anyway, in the end, I decided yes I would. And so I started it last Tuesday. I think I started it on the 7th. So I only had a week, so it had to be something small. And it's usually something small anyway. But this is what I did. And I finished it actually just before I came to film. So I didn't quite get it finished in time for Valentine's Day. So he hasn't actually seen it finished yet, so you are seeing it before him, which I suppose is a little bit rude. But he did see it last night in its semi-unfinished state, because I always give it to him on Valentine's Day in whatever state it's in. I don't think I've ever... No, I have one year actually managed to fully finish something before Valentine's Day, but usually the situation is that the stitching's not finished by Valentine's Day, and so he just gets given it in whatever state it currently is. And last night I'd done everything except in that bottom border I had 2 hearts and one of the infill bits to finish. So, you know, he largely saw it. Anyway, what is this? This is a freebie by Modern Folk Embroidery, and I will put the freebie link below. And I have modified it a bit because it's actually a Mother's Day freebie. And this is the original pattern. And it is Mother's Day coming up in the UK, so if you're looking for something to stitch for your mum for Mother's Day, and I've just remembered I was meant to bring my mother today and have fully failed to do that. So this was a good memory jog. I'll have to go and do that after I've done this. But anyway, so you could stitch this for Mother's Day, but all I did was take out the I Heart Mum bit and just move that border up, and then I thought it was more than appropriate for a Valentine's piece as well. So that's what I did. And this is a bit of an experiment for me because, as you know if you've been here before, I have a Cottage Garden Threads Thread of the Month club from the Poppy Patch, which is a quilt shop in Northamptonshire. And I hadn't used them and I wanted to try using them. So it's just stitched on, so I got raw linen, 32 count, and it's stitched 2 over 2 in Cottage Garden Threads Le Bouton. Sorry, Le Bouton. I think also we might have got a skein of this in the Patchwork Rabbit Advent as well, because we did get some Cottage Garden threads in there. But I know I did also get a skein of this through my Thread of the Month club. So yes, that is my finish. Finished today. I will now have to FFO it. So sometime before our 50th wedding anniversary that will happen. If you're new here, FFOing is not my strength. We'll just put it like that. It's not my chief skill. So yes, so I've been working on that, obviously when he's not around. I'm quite enjoying it. It's a really fun little stitch. It's not very big. I think it's about 60 by 60 or something. It's not huge. You can, as I say, I only started it a week ago and I haven't stitched on it every day and I can't stitch on it when he's around, and I got it done ish. So that's my finish. Obviously don't have any FFOs to show you. What else have I been stitching on? Right, last time I saw you I was stitching on cardinal points and I had not been enjoying cardinal points but was starting to enjoy it again, and this is cardinal points. It's by Julia Line of Long Dog Samplers, but it's a pattern exclusively for Gentle Art sampler thread, so you can't buy it on the Long Dog website. You can only get it through a stockist of Gentle Art sampler threads. Lakeside Needlecraft in the UK usually have them in stock. I think they're out of stock at the moment, but hopefully they will be back in stock soon. Anyway, so I think I last filmed on the 31st of January and I said I was going to have that evening and then I was going to put it away, which is what I did. So this is really, it's not much further along from where you saw it last time, but I thought I would, for the sake of completeness, show you where I got to. So I finished coming up this border. I think last time you saw it, this flower hadn't been done and some of the leaves hadn't been done. So I went in and started filling in some of the leaves and did that flower and got to this kind of four-sided leaf, marks the halfway point on the border. So I'm really actually quite pleased with where I got to and did start enjoying it again, which I think was the most important thing for me. I hope, although I have reached my WIPGO goal on this piece now, which was 10 days stitching, which were, you know, on the struggle bus stitching, to be frank. I hope it will come out again this year, because I actually did start enjoying it, and I would like it to be finished because it is very, very beautiful. I'm stitching it in all the called for threads, which are obviously all Gentle Arts. And that is the kind of colour palette. And I keep it in a House of Stitch and Stash project bag from Rika King. So that's where I got to on that. And then, as I say, as of the 31st of January, I put it away to concentrate on some other things. I'm just going to fold it all. It's a massive piece of fabric. I don't know why I stitched it on such a blooming huge piece of fabric, but I did. I did. Right. And then the other thing I was working on last time I saw you was my, see if I can find the right cover sheet for once, my Three Musketeers piece from Stitching Book Club. This was released as a sale in 2020, which I obviously did not keep up with, but I have got it back out, and I've been doing my out and about stitching. So if you're new, if you've been here before, sorry, you've heard this all before, but if you are new, I spend a lot of my time waiting for my children to do more exciting things than I am doing, and I usually take some stitching with me whilst I am waiting. And so this is, which I call out and about stitching, and this has been my out and about stitching, or was my out and about stitching for most of January and the start of February, up until the 7th, when I started that piece I showed you for my husband for Valentine's Day, because obviously then that became my out and about stitching because he's not around. So until about the 7th of February, so if I just said January, I was stitching this, and I've nearly now finished the first part, only a mere 3 years late. We're in 2023 now? Yeah, we are, aren't we? Sorry, suddenly had just a complete mind blank as to what year we were in. I thought we were in 2022, but no, we are not. Anyway, so there we are. Nearly finished part 1. I've got another 1.5 fleur-de-lis and one of those suns to go, and then it's done. But I was starting to feel a bit burnt out on this, so I think it was good to put it away. It's stitched on 32 count Belfast linen in Summer Sky by Crafty Kitten Fabrics. They're no longer trading. And whilst the colours are similar to what was charted, it's charted in DMC, and I pulled from Stash a mixture of Gentle Arts, Colour and Cotton, and classic Colourworks. Yeah, I'm actually really happy with how it's turning out. So I might get that back out soon, but I think I needed to put it away just for a little while. Excuse me. Yeah. There we go. Then it became February, and as you know, I was extremely excited by my February WIPGO calls. This is in another House of Stitch and Stash project bag. And one of my February WIPGO calls was The Village of Hawker & Hollow, which I think is my favourite WIP I have in my stash. I'm sure you're all very familiar with this series. This is the first one of them I have done. And I started this, my birthday start, in 2019? 2018? I think it was 2018. And until the start of this month, I had literally just done the first block, and it had had several years with no stitching on. But as of right now, I am here. I'll keep it on the Q-snap because you can see everything. But obviously I have built that big chapel apart from the windows. I'm kind of saving those stained glass windows to last because I'm really looking forward to stitching them. But I started the bird, came across, stitched down the chapel, and now I'm stitching down one of the big weeping willows at the side. And then it's got loads of kind of full coverage greenery down here. But oh, I just love this piece. I absolutely love it. My goal for WIPGO is to complete a whole block. Now, I'm not sure I'm going to get that done this month, if I'm honest, for various reasons, which we'll come on to in a bit. But I absolutely love this piece. I love Kathy Barrick. I know this is Carriage House Samplings, which she does with Marty as well, but there's something about stitching in Kathy Barrick that I just love. And I think it's, I mean, obviously I like the aesthetic, but there's something nice about the actual process of stitching it, which I think was something I wasn't enjoying with Cardinal Points. There's like enough colour change to keep you interested, but it's not so bitty as to annoy you. There's a good kind of chunk of mindless stitching, if that's what you need. So like this roof, it's fairly mindless, right? You're not going to get the counting massively wrong. It only comes out one stitch each line. You know, again, the chapel, that white, fairly mindless. But you know, there's enough to keep you interested. It's not just straight back and forth, because that can get boring as well. But I think with the Cardinal Points, there's so many bitty colour changes that I think that's what I was struggling with. And it was just nice to have such a change, to just have bits where you can just be like, I've just got to stitch this, and I don't have to be constantly referring to the pattern every 2 seconds. So anyway, I am enjoying it, and if you have never stitched a Hawk Run Hollow, I know they are large, and I know that can be off-putting, but I would thoroughly recommend them. I really would. This is stitched on 32 count June by Chromatic Alchemy. The light's starting to change colour because it is starting to get a bit kind of darker outside, so I'll see if I can adjust for that in the edit, but I am sorry, the light might go a bit funny. 32 count June by Chromatic Alchemy, and I am stitching it in the DMC conversion. And I love it. I love it, I love it. I have put it away for a few days to work on something else that I'll come on to in a second. But yeah, really enjoying it. Really enjoying it. And then, because of some plans that I'm going to tell you about in a minute, I decided a couple of nights ago, once I'd built that chapel basically, or church, whatever you want to call it, to kind of just leave off Hawk Run Hollow for a little bit and try and get my other February WIPGO goal completed. So partly because I also don't think I'm going to get that one finished in February, even if I stitch on it all February, because the full coverage at the bottom, you know, it's about a third of the square, so it's going to take a little while. Anyway, my other WIPGO call for February was Ink Circles, Arranging Microbes, and that is 10 days stitching. So I picked this up on the 13th, so literally a couple of days ago. And I don't know if I'll get this finished in 10 days, but I will certainly get a good old chunk of it done. The last 2 nights haven't been stellar stitching nights, but this is where I got to. I might take this with me tomorrow night to the boring meeting. So that's where I am, which is basically that big dish in the middle. So I'm saying I'm about halfway-ish through that dish. And that is, you know, the biggest bit of stitching on there. This is not in reference to COVID. I don't know if that's why it was designed. I can probably find out when it was designed and we can see. Yeah, 2021, so you know, people were washing their hands. But what appealed to me about this is I have 3 little children. And if you are not familiar with small children, you may not be aware that they are, in fact, some of the grimmest things on earth. And washing their hands it's somewhat of an anathema to them, shall we say. So this is going in their bathroom. I'm stitching this in all the called for, which are week's dye works, and are so fun, that colour palette. I actually now have every colour on there. So all the colours in the design are now present on the stitching, and I'm stitching it on 40 count white linen from WIPGO. I am also coming to the realisation that I don't like stitching 1/2 on 40 count, which is a bummer because I have a lot of 40 count in my stash, and I have quite a lot of projects that are 1/2 on 40 count. I mean, I don't dislike it so much that I won't do it, but I have come to realise that I actually like stitching with 2 strands, and I prefer my stitches with 2 strands, and I prefer the process with 2 strands. So I'm happy to stitch on 36 count most of the time with 2 strands. I'm happy to stitch on 32 count, but I think 32 and 36 count might be my sweet spot. And there's something about 1 strand on 40 count that I don't love, and I think perhaps that's why I'm not enjoying cardinal points as much as well, because that's 1 strand over 2 on 36 count. I find it harder to tie off my ends when it's only 1 strand, you know, like getting your needle under the back. I find it really tricky. I don't know. Anyway, there's something about it. Perhaps just me. Anyway, so there we go. So I'm hoping to get my 10 days in on that and be finished with that 10 days, wherever that gets me. I'm hoping it'll get me a long way there on the 22nd. And I'll explain why shortly. And then there was a little surprise entry, which I'm going to show you because I did stitch on it, but it was like super, super minimal stitching. And that was in this amazing Penelope's Pocket project bag, which actually, while you're here, I bought this project bag. It was one of the first ones Sarah sold, and I bought it really early on. And it's before she started doing the zip tassels. And a little while ago, I said to her, I bought 2 things on her website, and so it charged me double postage. And she wrote to me and said, "Oh, I'll refund you the postage." And I said, if it's okay with you, would you mind not doing that and instead sending me a tassel for the Pride and Prejudice bag? And she said, yes, absolutely. And actually it was just here by the side of me because I found it in another bag the other day. And so there we go. There you go, Sarah. I finally attached the tassel to the bag. So I got this out for a very specific reason. And literally all I did was put in these 3 leaves. Sorry, I should have said this is Real Comfort, a Jane Austen sampler from Modern Folk Embroidery, which is stitched on 40 count in a Silks for You silk. This 40 count though feels different to the other ones. Feels thicker almost. I don't know why. Anyway, still is why I got one, so I'm not sure. But why did I get this out? Well, I will show you. So the reason I randomly got this out is that I got my first ever Needle Needs Millennium frame. So I ordered this with some of my birthday money in September, and I got it about a week ago. So it was about 5 months from ordering. So they do take a really long time, but I knew it when I ordered it. I knew it would take a long time, so that wasn't a problem for me. But if you're in a rush, you know, it takes a while. It does take a while. But I'm very excited to now have it in my mucky little mitts. But because it's a kind of modular system, so you order the I can't remember the proper name, but these top bars and the stretcher arms all come apart, and you can put different sizes on them. And because I've never had one of these before, I just ordered a standard, I think it's 20-inch top bar, this one here. And Hawk Run Hollow's too big for it, which is typical, which was the whip I had out at that time. And my other one, Arranging Microbes, is too small. It's too small for the depth. So I was like, well, I want to test it out. So I put Real Comfort on it, which is actually the perfect size for this stand. And it is amazing, this frame. If you have the patience to wait, and I know they do take a long time to come, it's amazing. Yeah, the tension is fantastic. So I'm really, really pleased to have got it. And I'm looking forward to working on something that I can properly, where I can properly test it out. But with my little test piece, I really enjoyed it. And yeah, I'm delighted that I invested and took the time to get one. I have already gone and purchased some longer, whatever these are called, this top bit, some longer ones, so I can put slightly bigger projects on them. But yes, very thrilled. And then also, I was wondering what kind of stand, because it's not actually as heavy as I thought it would be, but I don't want to sit there holding it. So I was kind of wondering about stands on Instagram, and someone messaged and said, quite a few people messaged and said, oh, I have the Needle Needs stands. And there's a really long wait time on those, like really long. In fact, I don't even think they're taking orders on them at the moment. I think you have to join a wait list for them to take your order. And so now I was thinking, oh, I know Jessie Marie uses a Lowry with hers, and that might be a good option for me. But anyway, one of the ladies who said they use a Needle Needs stand said, oh, and I've just ordered the new type and it's just arrived after, I think, a ridiculously long wait. So I'm going to sell my old one. And I said, oh, could you let me know when you do sell it? And she did. And so it has arrived. I haven't actually set it up yet, but it is in my hands. And I hope to set it up in the next couple of days and see how that works for me. So yeah, super excited by that. So that's an exciting little bit of haul that I have been waiting quite a long time for. But it did mean that I unexpectedly got out Real Comfort. And it is lovely, and I would like to finish that this year. It's on my WIPGO board, so we'll get some decent attention at some point, but this wasn't it. And I know it fits on my new frame, which is exciting. I'm really losing the light now. You can see the deterioration as we go. So that is all my whips. I'll just talk to you very briefly about plans. Obviously, I have Hawk Run Hollow still to do. That's the thread. I have my Arranging Microbes to do. But I've been trying to watch a bit more Flosstube than usual. I'd not get into like a news doom loop and have the radio on constantly. I've also been trying to try more Flosstubers that I haven't tried before, because I do, I kind of had 5 that I always watched and never really tried anyone new. So been trying to try some new to me Flosstubers and watch a bit more Flosstube as well. And 2 of those kind of newish, well, one is new, very new to me and not new to anyone else in the world, and one is kind of new to me since like December. So Yasmin Made with Love, who is new to no one in the world except me, is running a marathon for MenCap, which obviously is something she's really passionate about, because you certainly wouldn't run a marathon for anything you weren't passionate about. And as part of her fundraising is releasing charts if you make a donation to her marathon page. And Ros Clark Craft, who I came across last December when she gave me a shout out when I was doing Flosstube, is organising, well, is trying to get everyone to stitch one of Yaz's designs as kind of in support, in a sal, for her marathon effort, because, well, if you're like me, the likelihood of you ever running a marathon in your life is slim to none. I don't like running for the bus. So I made a donation to Yaz and got some of her charts, and this is the one that I am going to be stitching. So the sale starts on the 23rd of February, because I think the London Marathon is the 23rd of April. I think I'm remembering all this right. So it's 2 months before the day of the London Marathon, and the idea was we all stitch it and then we finish it while Yasmin's running her marathon, and we all finish it on the 23rd of April. Now, whether that is at all possible in my life, I don't know, but I am well up for starting on the 23rd of February, and I think the hashtag is YasMarathonSal. Hashtag YasMarathonSal. But head over to Roz or Yasmin, who I will link below, if you would like to hear a bit more about that. But that's what I will be starting. It's charged in DMC, so I have a full set of DMC, so I know I have the threads, which I just need to pull from stash, and I haven't got the fabric yet, but again, I have a big fabric stash, and I'm sure I can find something more than suitable in there. And actually, having watched Yas, I think I've watched like 2 or 3 videos now. She did one recently where she showed us her like wall of birds. I want a wall of birds. I want a wall of birds here. Anyway, so here is step 1 on my path to a wall of birds. Her wall of birds is amazing. Go and have a look at that. Right. What else do I want to say about cross stitch? Shall I tell you who I've been? This is the other thing. In addition to watching more Flosstube, I thought I need to get better about shouting out who I have been watching on Flosstube. So in addition to Yasmin and Roz, I have watched Crafting Kirsty, who you know that I talk about a lot. We have a little laugh on Instagram and YouTube, and I will be meeting Kirsty in just over a month at the Essex Needles Retreat, which I'm very excited about. Also been watching Ellie Welly Stitcher, who is one of the organisers of the Essex Needles Retreat, so I will get to meet her as well, so that's super exciting. I've been watching Stitchy Sally. Don't know if you all know Sally, but you should. We started Flosstube about the same time, and then she carried on and I had a big break, and she's just got to 1,000 subscribers, so congratulations, Sally. So go head over and watch Sally. Obviously I've been watching Jessie Marie Does Stuff, although I think she's got one that I haven't managed to watch yet. And Mama Loves You GB, who definitely needs no introduction by me. And then another completely new to me but new to no one else is Lollipop Stitches. So I very much enjoyed her whip parade. Thank you, Lolly. And it was a lot of things that I wouldn't necessarily stitch myself, but really enjoyed seeing hers. And then brand new to me, and I went over from Stitchy Sally, was Charlie Feathers, and I really enjoyed her video, and she's I really liked her design she'd done. Yeah, I just really enjoyed her projects that she'd been working on. And right now I am halfway through Lauren Flossability's January update, because I don't know if anyone else is like me, but I seem incapable of watching a Flosstube in one go. I usually have to watch it in multiple parts, usually because people tour the house with me, putting clothes away, tidying up children's bedrooms, putting laundry on, ironing, cooking. If I watch you on Flosstube, you are touring my house with me on my laptop, so there you go. And then I have 2 bits of haul that I don't think I'll go through in super detail, probably because the light's not good, and also I'm not sure actually how interested anyone is. But I have my thread club from the Poppy Patch, which is my cottage garden thread club, and they're the colours from this month, and I'm not going to take them out because I don't think the shine's too bad, and also it makes a terrible crinkle. So that's those. And then I don't think they come in any order, by the way. I don't think they come alphabetical or anything. I think you just get 5 different ones each month. I don't think there's any particular rhyme nor reason to them. And then I got my classic Colourworks thread club from Lakeside Needlecraft. I'm on the M's now, so they do classic Colourworks thread club, and when you join they just send them to you alphabetically through the alphabet. So I'm on the M's and the N's, and let's see if I've got some white paper, and that is what came this month. I actually think that makes a pretty, it's not shown brilliantly in the light now, But actually that makes a pretty good colour palette, just randomly, just those colours together. This one might be a little bright, although actually, yeah, it might be a little bright, but the rest of them actually might look good. Some of those on that peacock that I just showed you, I'll have to have a look. So yeah, got those from Lakeside Needlecraft. I would also say that Lakeside Needlecraft, for some reason, are gonna, I think from what I understood on their Facebook page, gonna stop stocking ink circles charts. I guess maybe they don't sell well, I don't know. Anyway, but I quite like ink circles, and they had a 35% discount on ink circles charts while they've still got them in stock. So I've got some of those coming, so head over and see if you can nab some discounted ink circles charts. Right, on that note, when am I next going to see you? It's going to be, well, if I go back to a Tuesday, which I will, it's going to be the 28th of February, which is just the weekend before, or the week before Nashville Needlework Market. And I think if you want a, yeah, I think it is. I think if you want to get a pre-order in for Peakside, it's got to be in by the 28th. Now, I don't know about anyone else, and I must say I haven't been following it super closely yet, but I do keep going and have a look. I'm not super excited about anything I've seen from Nashville yet. I haven't seen anything this year so far that I've been like, I must have that. And usually I get super carried away and must have everything. But this year so far, I haven't seen anything I'm like, I must have that in my life. Having said that, I haven't seen Hello from Liz Matthews or Kathy Barrick or Teresa Kogut or Beth Twist Heartstring Sampleries releases yet. Haven't seen any of those four. And that might be because I haven't been paying attention. I will go and have a look. But usually that's where I lose all my money. So, you know. But yeah, so far, there were some nice things, but nothing I'm like, I must have that the second it's out. Right, that is all the cross stitch I've got to show you. So if you're not interested in knitting, I would say thank you very, very much for joining me. I'm sorry I've been very waffly today and it's been quite long. So thank you for sticking with it. But I will see you again in 2 weeks. See you later, stitchers, if you're heading off now. Bye. Right, if you're staying for the knitting, it's not long. But I have two things to show you. First is a finish and the second's a half finish. So the first one is, last time I saw you, I was knitting, I finished my cowl and I'd started knitting a cowl for one of the smalls who had commandeered another one of my cowls, and I was kind of making it up as I went along and stitching a rainbow cowl, and I finished it and this is how it turned out. It's not perfect, I did it without a pattern, so you know, there are things like I'll definitely do differently next time. And particularly at the bottom where I didn't really think this through and went straight from stockinette into rib. And I've got, you know, a little kind of, you know, you can see where the colours have joined, which isn't great, but she's happy and she loves it. And I'm pretty proud of myself, really. So this was, as I say, I just made it up, and it's an 100% acrylic yarn, which I can't remember the name of, that I got from Wool Warehouse, I think. Apart from the Indigo band, which was a paint box yarn, again 100% acrylic, that I got from Lovecrafts. But she's very happy and she's worn it to school every single day. And yeah, it's alright, isn't it? Not too shabby. Not too shabby. I'm going to have to stop saying I'm a beginner knitter soon if I keep doing things like that. And the next thing I'm going to show you. So the next thing I'm going to show you is, again, last time I was knitting my sock. And I'd done the kind of the scary bit. I'd done the heel turn and the gusset. And now I have a finished sock. I've done the toe. I have stitched the toe together with the not best Kitchener stitch in the world, but not terrible. And more than that, oh, some scissors there that have come out of something. Oh, I think they came out of real comfort. And sat on. Anyway, I'll model it for you. It fits. Not only did I knit a sock, I've got a massive bruise there. Oh, crikey. Can you see that? Don't know where that's come from. It fits. It fits. I have a sock. I knitted a sock and it fits. And that is amazing. So I'm amazed with myself. Amazed with myself. This is kept in my gifted bag from Sarah at Penelope's Pocket. And I have been a really good girl and immediately cast on its mate. So I'll probably take this with me to the ballroom meeting tomorrow as well. Because I heard sometimes people don't cast on the other one. And yeah. Anyway, I'm quite alarmed by that rather large bruise I've just found on my ankle. I have literally no idea where that came from. But yes, I've finished a sock. So that is all I've been knitting. Yeah. On that note, what time is it? It's 5:30 and my children are going to want feeding before too much longer. So I better go and make some dinner. If you have stayed this far with me, thank you very much. I hope you'll give me a like and a comment and subscribe if you don't already. And I will see you in 2 weeks. And in the meantime, enjoy your stitching, enjoy your knitting, enjoy your half term if that applies to you. I'll see you later, Stitchers. Bye.